Be the girl who got away. Every single one of my exes, every person who I have dated has come running back. It's not because I'm this special person and we're actually soulmates, because we're not. It's because I heal in silence. Once you tell me that you're not sure about me, I'm not gonna try and convince you to be. You deserve more than convincing someone that you are worth it.
Right.
Worth what exactly? Time? Energy? Spending an obscene amount of money on someone who's clearly not worth the price of a lukewarm dollar store steak? You claim that you're not special, and then you try to imply that you are special because of this magical healing ability you clearly don't have. That's not me making assumptions. You said it yourself. You have a litany of men who can attest to the contrary of what you're saying. You're clearly not the one who got away. More like you wish you were that person. But if you were that kind of woman, then you'd at least have a boyfriend who'd appreciate you. But I've already heard you blather on for 30 seconds, and all I can see is a woman who didn't get away so much as she was kicked to the curb.
Do not post on your story, extreme going out, I'm so happy without him. You know why? In his mind, he won. If you're not usually posting that kind of stuff and you start posting pictures in bikinis and going out and you're so much better off now, he won. He knows your butt hurt. If you start posting sad stuff, he's not reading it. He knows that your butt hurt. And if you start posting angry content or dissing him or whatever, he knows that you're hurt. And in his mind, when he sees this stuff, he's won. Don't let him win, okay?
Man, you are one pathetic loser. No offense.
It doesn't matter what you say, lady. You've lost. You're not giving advice so much as you're talking to yourself. You can't stand the idea of living in a world where your situationship couldn't care less about your feelings. But that's not stopping you from posting all sorts of cringe for the planet to witness. Now, I agree. You shouldn't be posting thirst traps as a form of revenge against the guy who's clearly done with your garbage. But allow me to present this conundrum to you, madam. How can you be healing in silence when you are going online and telling people publicly that you heal in silence? Shouldn't you, not be posting anything at all and moving on with what little life you have? But you won't, because you're clearly butthurt over losing this and every other guy in your life. There's no high ground on this one, sister. You lost.
Heal. Take the time that you need and heal in silence. Learn to live without this other person. Don't be checking if he's viewed your story. Don't be checking if he's liked your post. Don't answer his text message. Don't answer his phone call. If you need to block him in order to do this, block him. I usually don't have that strong of willpower, so out of sight, out of mind. When you start living your life without this person and genuinely moving on, your life becomes a mystery to this other person and it drives them crazy.
Wrong! I don't see how you could be healing yourself when you're the one already plotting Looney Tune levels of revenge plots and psychological warfare against a guy who clearly left you. In fact, what the hell are you even talking about when it comes to this idea of healing anyway? You go on and on and on about it, but at no point do you even talk about how you're doing this thing or even giving a tangible definition for what the hell you're even talking about. It's this magical golden thing that you can't describe, but you feel like if you get to it, it'll somehow fix all of your problems, even though you're not even lifting a finger to actually go and do it. You're just proving what we already know, sister. You just want the last laugh against a guy who's already forgotten your name. That's because you're in denial over the fact that you were never in a relationship with this guy. You were bone buddies and you thought it was more. And that was your mistake, sister. One that you will constantly be making for the rest of your life.
It's hard to do, but the easiest way, I think, is just removing them completely. Block their phone number, block them on Instagram, block them on TikTok, on Snapchat, on whatever. Block their friends if you need to. If you find yourself stalking his friends or finding another way to stalk, block. You will move on. And this is the only way to move on, because you are forced to figure it out without them. If they're blocked, you're not going to see their messages, so there's no, oh, what if he texts? No, like, you won't be able to see it even if he does. So, drives them crazy though. I've had my exes reach out to family members, my best friends. And by the time they do that, I am moved on because I learned to live without them and I'm okay.
You know, it's kind of amazing to me how modern women can assume that blocking someone who is sleeping with her on the regular is somehow this amazing diss that puts a dude in his place. Men who are in this specific position couldn't give a crap about how you feel. And even if you think this plan will work for you, you've already set yourself up for failure by posting this online for the entire planet to watch. There is no way that you can actually go through with this because every single man you've had in your life is the one that got away and you want that moniker for yourself. And that's not something you can ever have. You should have just gone through with the plan and moved on with your life, but we all know you can't do that. You technically have to have a life in order to move on with one.
Ooh, sick burn.
Out to date a successful guy, like a guy with money. The problem is I found out they don't always give you the money. Right? Sometimes they just talk about having the money and you're like, can I have some? And they're like, no, but you can watch me have it. And you're like, that's not as fun as sharing. And he would show me things he had. Like one time he showed me a house he had in the woods. And he did a big gesture, like, look at my house. And I was like, uh-huh. And he's like, wow, I thought you'd have a bigger reaction. And I was like, are you giving me the house? Like, I'll react if you're giving me the house, but I can look at houses that aren't mine all day long. I can Google the mansion section and be like, oh, look at all the houses that aren't mine. I'm not gonna have a reaction. If you want a reaction, give me a house. I'll react however you want.
That's the joke.
Huh. You know what? I can't help but wonder how much money Simon Cowell was paid to laugh at this, comedy. Considering that this guy is somehow still relevant in 2024 gives me the impression that he was paid quite a bit to pretend that this broad was saying something that was legitimately funny. He was probably laughing at the fact that he was getting paid money to sit there and pretend that modern women are legitimately entertaining when we've seen swarms of gnats with better comic potential. I really don't see the joke here. It's just nothing but true. Modern dating has devolved into nothing but a transaction process where the woman expects to be given either money, food, or some type of prize that involves getting into her stinky situations in exchange for luxury. This is fairly common knowledge. That's why dating has plummeted and most of us have moved on to better things, including beer can bowling, glow-in-the-dark dodgeball, and PVC catapults. Just, you know, all sorts of simple goof-around fun that we have over at Skeeter's house. So maybe Simon Cowell was laughing because he knew the truth, and that is, humanity is doomed. But he's laughing all the way to his super secret bunker to wait everything out.
Okay, God! Let me have it!
Can someone please tell me if this whole P. Diddy thing is real? Like, you're trying to tell me that P. Diddy had a tunnel in his house that went to Michael Jackson's basement, and Michael Jackson released a song where he said that someone's watching him, referring to P. Diddy. And then what do you know, Michael Jackson? This whole time, I just thought that Kanye West was rude and like interrupted Taylor Swift to give credits to Beyonce. But no, you're telling me that he saved her? And Adele broke her Grammy in half to give to Beyonce, which meant she was saving herself. And when anyone seems to get more famous than Beyonce or P. Diddy, they somehow end up...
Jesus. Scary.
Oh man, this one's gonna make my head hurt. Woman, if you're gonna walk down tinfoil lane, you at least need to pretend like you know what you're talking about. Because Somebody's Watching Me was made back in 1983 and performed by Rockwell with background vocals from Michael Jackson. Rockwell was the son of Berry Gordy, the founder of Motown Records, a label that is responsible for the careers of musical icons such as Marvin Gaye, Aretha Franklin, not to mention Bruce Willis. But his biggest star by far was Michael Jackson, and Jackson did this song with Rockwell because they were childhood buddies. And considering that Neverland Ranch was about 100 miles from Diddy's compound, I really don't think your head is screwed on straight for this one, sister. That whole mess with Kanye and Taylor Swift was scripted, planned, and sanctioned by Taylor and Kanye to create drama for the stupid awards ceremony that year. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of fishy stuff happening, lady, but it is so much worse than you think, and trust me, sister, you don't have the stomach for this.
Aaliyah passed away from a car crash when she was only 22 years old. This was just as she was getting more famous than Beyonce. Like, that's the same with the singer Left Eye. She was taking over Beyonce. Michael Jackson was taking over P. Diddy. And apparently P. Diddy trafficked young people at his famous parties, including Justin Bieber. One of Justin Bieber's songs is literally about it. In the song it says yummy, but people are thinking that it actually says young me, because that's when all the stuff happened.
We've got a conspiracy here. Conspiracy! There's conspires. Conspiring in a conspiracy. Conspiracy!
Oh, for the love of the intergalactic space god Blaplauses all hail. You need to get your facts straight when dealing with this stuff, lady. The timing is off for everything. Now, I don't really want to get into the details, but if you're going to get into this stuff, then you need to do your research and understand that the record industry is not its own entity. It is a dynasty of sorts, but it is so much worse than you think. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this. But you can't see the forest from the trees because you read a tweet, got everything backwards, and then act shocked when you automatically assume everything is true. Now, I will give you credit for trying, but here's something to think about, sister. In this world of shadow banning and demonetizations, if what you are saying is true, then why would it show up front and center on TikTok's For You page? Think for more than half a second, lady. Your brain needs the exercise.
Don't even get me started on Sia's Twitter post. Said the most random words, but when you put all the first letters of every single word together, spelled Beyonce kidnapped me. What? And another one that said help. Did this really happen? Lastly, we cannot forget about the song called She Knows or something. Listen to the lyrics, it's literally straightforward. Anyways, if this is real, then that has got to be the biggest scandal ever.
I'm not touching that with a 60-foot pole. Next caller.
Lady, this is in fact not the biggest scandal ever. If it's being covered by the biggest news agencies, then it's by design. To quote the great Captain Price,
"You want to put out an oil fire, sir? You set off a bigger explosion right next to it. Sucks away the oxygen, snuffs the flame. We got ourselves a pretty big fire. Gonna need a huge bang."
And the fact that you find yourself shocked by this just goes to show how easily led you are. Now, don't get me wrong, this is an important story, but if you think it's the biggest scandal ever, then I really don't think a CAT scan can show the sheer lack of brain function you have. Now, I am not getting too deep into this mess because I could talk about it for hours, and admittedly, this is not the proper format for this kind of stuff, and in all honesty, I really shouldn't be talking about it at all. So if you want to hear more off-the-cuff stuff that really doesn't have much to do with modern women, then why don't you check out the bounty board over on Patreon, where I tend to go into a little bit more off-topic stuff, and I'm honestly thinking about talking about my conspiracy theories over there for $5 a month. What do you think, gentlemen and gents? Do you think that's something that belongs behind a paywall? Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. We now return to your regularly scheduled programming.
Ladies, if a man gives you a ring and proposes marriage to you, it's because he's done playing the field, he's done trying to get all the ladies, he's maybe balding a little bit, he can't get the ladies anymore, so now he has to settle down. And settling down means finding somebody who's available that likes him enough to put up with his shit, and then he makes you feel special with a ring. He just needs access to a woman's body for the rest of his life. He can't go out and play the field and get the women he used to, so now he'll get married, because marriage is making sure you have it, because it's getting a little scary out there when I can't pick up these ladies, so I better settle down and get married. Marriage for a man is just maintaining access to a lady's body.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Lady, you do realize there are easier ways for a man to get some action, right? There's no need to bring legally binding financial contracts into the mix, and especially when there are more affordable options out there. There are plenty of women who will exchange these services for money and leave it at that. They've kind of existed since the beginning of civilization. If that works for some men, then more power to them. And even if that wasn't the case, trust me, sister, even if a guy is quote unquote aged out, if he's got confidence, is taking care of himself, and has got his crap together, then he is going to have no problem scoring some strange if he really wants to. He's not going to risk losing everything he's built to have bedroom fun with a bitter old broad who thinks that her value can be measured by the weight of her fake eyelashes. And even if that wasn't the case, how in the hell would you know? You're the kind of woman who tried to get married so many times yet failed miserably. You don't get to choose your husband chooses you. And it looks to me like you're not even getting a bench warming position on that particular team.
To making sure they always have access to that because they need it. Because they will go crazy without access to a lady's body. They're extremely borny. All the way up until the day they die. Just borny, borny, borny. So marriage is to make sure that you stay and sleep in his bed, and he always has access to a lady's body. He's done trying to find like what kind of hot lady I can get. That was cool. Now what other kind of hot lady I can get? He can't get the hot women anymore, so he's settling down and getting married to you. It's not an honor. It's not an accomplishment. You're literally just a free Bex worker when you get married.
Show a little respect. So, how many men have you slept with?
Woman, if what you're saying is true, and all of us are just nothing but bedroom fun crazed dogs, then how do you explain that 63% of men are boning while the rest of the men are getting by just fine without it? You're placing far too much value in that swamp bucket of reeking agony of yours. You think that's all men think about, when in reality, we're actually autonomous beings with functioning brains. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't say we haven't done stupid stuff to try to get with a woman. It's been known to happen. Ask any man and he has a story to tell you. But I don't think it's fair to say that men are willing to resort to marriage for bedroom fun when that would mean having to put up with your garbage for the rest of his life. No matter how mediocre of a service you provide, it is not worth the price of a wedding ring. Hell, it's not even worth the price of a cold $3 hamburger from a seedy bodega. I want to take a second here to give a shout out to the Bounty Board's newest members, Sean Singleton and Andrew McPatrick. Thank you so much for your support. It truly does mean the world to me. I'm going to go ahead and throw your names up there with the other members of the Bounty Board. Gentlemen and gents, thank you for your continued support. You are truly bringing forth the glorious glory of the intergalactic space god Slim Flomafard. All hail! For anyone else who's interested in helping support the channel, check out the link to the Patreon in the pinned comment down below. And of course, there's more than one way to support your favorite intergalactic bounty hunter. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button or double check to make sure you're still subscribed. Like this video, leave a couple of comments and share the video. Every single thing you do helps the channel and helps to give the good old-fashioned middle finger to the YouTube algorithm. Thank you so much for your support, gentlemen and gents, and until next time, peace out, homies.